I've been promising for a while now to do a video where I do the air screen repair a little faster, and I am finally here to do it a little faster. I actually have some time as well, so without further ado, let's get it done. Mostly using my chest muscle here to pull down. I'm not pushing down with my wrist, I'm doing it like, you know, think of it like doing flies at the gym. That's the right muscle to use to just peel right through this shit. Don't worry, I didn't just destroy the computer. That is actually the bubble wrap that's sitting right under it. I have a nice laminated work desk out there where I don't have to worry about scratching anything. This one here is not one of them, so when I get to work on this desk, I put either some napkins or bubble wrap or whatever the hell I have around under the machine, because I care about actually giving it back to people in the condition in which they brought it to me. Even I love using heat to make life easier. I'm using more heat to remove this bezel than I use when I solder fuses or QFN packages onto motherboards. So a common question is what temperature you're soldering at. Before you even ask, I have no idea because of analog temperature control. If I had a VGA rework station right here, would I care about temperature? I just use what works. One of the things I was reading on that iFixit page on the MacBook Air, it's impossible to take the bezel off without ruining it. I'm very, very close to proving that to be just a bunch of horseshit. Keep in mind that when a lot of people tell you how something is impossible, they're not actually telling you that it's impossible. What they're doing is they're reciting to you their story of personal failure. So when other people fail, it makes them feel better about their failure when they make it sound like it's just an impossible thing to do or like it's something that everybody's going to fail at. And you cannot let somebody else's story of personal failure affect whether or not you will attempt to do something. What somebody else says is impossible, I say, is completely doable with the help of a $5 tool from the Utrecht Art Supply Store. Bezel is off. Whew! Clean! Perfect. This is going to go back on without a single bend. Gotta love the iron. You don't have to do what I'm doing, by the way. I'm just being lazy. I'm obviously never going to use this part again. The other tech stole my tweezers. I have the best set in the store. Look at that shit. See what it has at the end? Hell, these are perfect. Amazing, beautiful tweezers. And since I have no idea where I bought them from, I can never find them again. And since I happen to have this bad habit of losing everything here, he hides them from my own good, so that I will not lose them and never find them again. Is having a black PC board and then using black tape on the black PC board to cover something so that you will destroy the machine in the process of trying to fix it. And that's what they do here. So this backlight cable just plugs into a connector on this polarizer board here, but usually I just try to take it out and not care. But here I'm trying to actually remove the tape. I like to try to find new ways to do things every time I work. New, better ways. Sometimes I just wind up wasting my time. Usually I just rip this black thing off of the board in a nasty manner without caring. This time I tried to do something different. Didn't work out the way I wanted. Oh well. Shit happens. Okay. Polarizer is glued in on the left side, the right side, and the top side. On the bottom side, it is adhesed to a bar, but I just unscrewed that bar and there's no glue on it. Now, I don't mind using a lot of heat on this thing before I take it off. After I take this off, I am going to have to lower the heat by a lot because the back layers will get burned instantly. Again, right now I have all this great insulation in the form of the polarizer, but once I take the polarizer off, it's going to be really easy to boil those back layers. So I like to heat it up very nicely before I actually pull this thing off, because see how easy that thing comes off when it's... I'm just guessing, because I'm way above what I need to melt solder here. That thing just came right off. Okay, do the same thing to the other side. Because when this thing comes off without cracking, this job is just so easy. This is completely cracked along the edge here, so I'm being extra careful. I'm going to use this adhesive right here to hold one of these layers down, because it's going to pop out. All these other layers are being held underneath these little white things over here, but there's one layer that's just sitting there chilling that's going to pop out and come out the second I remove the polarizer. And that's not good, because then I'm going to have to touch to put it back in there. When you touch it to put it back in there, you get fingerprints on it, and then the job starts to look like a Craigslist job, and you know, I kind of pride myself in my jobs not looking like Craigslist jobs, so I want them to look good. So, you know, you don't even need that sheet. It's kind of pinkish in color. You can get away with removing that. I'm not saying you should remove it. You know, you should get to a point where you don't have to remove it. But if you mess that up, you can remove it. I would rather have that sheet not there than have it there and be messed up, if this makes any sense. corners are really the only places you can actually get away with touching this thing, which is why I'm taping it in directly on the corner. Because you won't see the corner once the polarizer is put in. The absolute corner is out of view. Well, if it needs tiny little adjustments, I can do those adjustments with the tweezer in the corner, and I'm good. Okay, I'm removing the old adhesive now. You could completely get along with not removing the old adhesive. The reason I'm doing it is because it's a good habit, and if you get into the habit of not removing the old adhesive once, it's easy to justify not doing it again and again and again, and it's easy to get lazy, and then you'll just never do it because you can get away without doing it all the time, and then you'll get to a device where you really need to remove all the adhesive for it to be done properly, and you won't. So here's where I like to abuse my hackle and set it all the way up to 8. This bar is glued on. I boiled it a fair amount. Whew, comes right off. Old screen. Now I always make this mistake of going to take this adhesive off after I've boiled it. So what do you think the problem is of going to take the adhesive off right after I heated it to what I would think is 900 or 1000 Celsius based on the fact that I'm on 8 and 5 to 6 is hot enough for me to solder, where I usually solder at 700 Fahrenheit. I'm probably somewhere like way above 700 Fahrenheit. Yeah. But I don't really have much usable skin at the end of my fingerprints. The end of my fingertips at this point in my life anyway. Here we have the new piece. It's easy to forget which way this went. This metal bar goes behind the polarizer, not in front of the polarizer. This isn't good adhesive. I'm going to start selling it on the website again. I sold it for a short period of time and it sold like crack. So this 3M core adhesive. There's a clear grayish one and there's a black one. They're both awesome. You know, you can use either one of them and they're both amazing. You know, the people here prefer the clear one. I usually prefer the black one. It doesn't make a difference because they both do an excellent job in this business that is very valuable. Because I never want to see the fucker that owns this again. I want him to give me the money be very, very happy, have a perfectly working machine, and never come back here with it. He can come back here with something else. He's allowed to come back here with something else, but not with this. This job needs to be good enough that I never see him again. There's another video with MacBook for the MacBook Air where I actually zoom in on this as I do it. It's really late at night, and again, I'm not really doing this to show you exactly how to do it. I'm just doing it because a couple of people said, "You said you could do it in 20, 30 minutes. Why don't you show us that you can do it in 20, 30 minutes?" The purpose here is not really to educate as much as it is to just shut some people up. Gym closes soon, and I want to go there before I go home. Now, so got that plugged in. Now, this is not going to plug in right unless you have the board kind of facing up like this and the assembly facing up like this. Don't expect to be able to twist this whole thing around and manage to fit it into this polarizer connector thingy. It's not going to work. So you have to have the board up and the cable up. And when both of them are up, you can put your tweezer in between that black tape I talked about that I hate and this, and just jam it in there. Because again, if you're actually trying to grab this fucking cable, good luck. Grabbing it is a pain in the fucking ass. But just pushing it in there, using that black tape that's attached to it, that is easy. You know, I try to turn things that I don't like into something that can help me. I look at all these things that drive me crazy and think, how can I turn this into an advantage? Tempting as it is to ignore the fact that I lost one of the screws that holds it in, I don't have it in me to do it. My workstation is made for people like me. It really is. I have so many screws on so many little magnets that it doesn't matter how many I lose, I'm always in the lead. Okay. I like to turn it on and make sure it works before I glue it in. And what do you know? It works. Cool. So, what's next here? I have to put the adhesive on so that this thing will stay in. I need to get a new nozzle for my air compressor. We destroyed this thing. I mean destroyed this thing. here. And every single attempt that you make to make it better is actually going to fuck it up 10 times worse. By the way, that's why the nozzle doesn't work. I'm pretty sure that little green light being on means that the webcam came unplugged or half unplugged or something. Oh, the fun of doing this work at night. After it's time to leave. So, when I was removing the camera, the bezel, this little motherfucker came off of the... So unfortunately, as my luck calls, no 20-minute repair. Oh well. But at the very least, you will get to see a really stupid problem, and then me fix the really stupid problem. So this is a 2010 machine. Now, does the 2012 webcam work? Yes. Does it reach? Not really. So, I have to make my 2010 webcam work again. Which means soldering this little motherfucker back where it belongs. My luck. My beautiful, beautiful luck. Oh, fail. What a fail. You know, as stupid as I feel right now, This is honestly one of the things you pay for when you pay for a real technician to do it, instead of just, having some random person that says he'll do it for 20 bucks to do it. Because when I lose that little thing, I actually decide to stay here and postpone my life to find that little 0603 packaged device instead of go home. Because I have a responsibility to the customer to return this thing in the same fucking condition that they brought it in. Even though I would like nothing more at this point other than to just... Especially since this is my last soldering tip that I have left. And this, honestly, I can do a lot of work with a big tip, and I like having the big soldering tip. But in this particular situation, this is really not helping me. I dare not use hot air right this close to a camera lens. And also, admittedly, so I did it with the iron instead of with the hot air station. Now here's going to be the magic moment. When I turn this on, is it going to blow up in my face? Or will I be able to see myself in the computer when I'm done? One way to find out. Oh, don't blow up, don't blow up, don't blow up. There's always a next time. That's a beautiful smell right there. Again, it's a good habit to remove the old adhesive. Especially on a computer where 90% of the damn top case is held together by glue. You really don't want to be using the old glue. Not any of this old adhesive. In addition to my small roll of adhesive being stolen, my big roll was as well. Yeah, remember what I said about karma? This is so not 20 minutes. Talk about embarrassing, man. Talk about embarrassing. One of the other places where people really start to fail in this business is they have one thing that they got to get done, and they have to do it late, and they fail at it, like I just did. But once one thing goes downhill, they lose their confidence in themselves. And when you lose your confidence, everything starts to go downhill. And everything you do, even just the simple peeling of adhesive, starts to become jagged and just messed up in every possible way. If it's really late and you're doing one last job, and you have to do one last job, don't let your confidence get decreased when one thing doesn't go the way it's supposed to. And don't start just pulling and hacking away at things because you want it to be fast so that you can go home. Now, keeping your calm is really important. It's not about the smartest people who get these jobs done. It's not the person with the steadiest hand. It's not the person with the most knowledge. It's often the person that just acts relaxed, slowly and calmly thinks things through. Now, if I start losing my mind and going all over my desk like this to find that little resistor, that thing is gone. But if I calmly go, where's the bezel? How did I put it down? Oh, I put it down here. Oh, here it is. I'm going to find that thing. Even if it is almost midnight. And I'm going to finish the job, and I'm going to go home. Without having to make up some excuse as to why the guy's webcam don't work. Why he has to wait more to get it done. Just stay relaxed, relax, and all will be fine. It's the hardest thing to teach new people that start here as a tech. Relax, calm down, walk away from it for a minute if you have to, and then come back and do the job. Because it may be hard to believe this due to the PG and G-rated language I use on this channel, but when I turned the camera off and I noticed that thing wasn't working, I actually cursed a couple of times. Yeah. Now the fun part. Of course, the corner has to be bent in on this thing since it's the last job of the day before I go home. That's just how it is, though. I tell every single job when I'm done with it, whether it's a motherboard that's being troublesome when replacing the chip that's supposed to fix the problem doesn't fix it, or a hard drive that works right up until the end of it where something important is stored, or the partition's not way of defeating the device that has been a pain in the ass. And I always take pride in defeating the pain in the ass. With that said, all done.